Okay, this is TSdL, round of 32. We have Wax versus Nidori. Hopefully I am pronouncing that right. Looking at Wax's box, pretty standard. Werner, maybe, something you wouldn't see, and more of a gear towards single target with Elwin in the box. Bernhardt as well. 2 tank, still Bozel for flex AoE stuff, and then Nidori on the other hand has a Werner as well, which we are seeing a lot of recently. He's a really good... He has a sprint, which provides attack up. His talent is really good for many people. Lots of maps have terrain, and he can function as a pseudo-assassin, has really good range, and he also has self-heals in his kit, which are really useful in the endgame. And other than that, we see Omega. Also 2 tank box. One contrast between Nidori and Wax is that Nidori has opted to drop Liana from his box to be more aggressive, with units like Omega and Akaya, relative to Wax still running Liana. Leans him more towards tank push, which you can sort of see with the juggler first pick. Wax doesn't really want to pick a tank, so he's banning, or Nidori doesn't really want to pick a tank. He first picked Werner, so he's willing to play the more trade-based game, banning out TSdL for her teleport. Strengthen, just lots of utility. She's really good at piggybacking off of other people, and then banning out Werner because Nidori wants to have the range advantage in this matchup, whereas Wax is opting to play more with a tank, and yeah, just more tank push. Less the trade game, more so wants to outlast his opponent. Bernhardt, really hard to kill. We do not see Kira in Nidori's box, so there is less threat to burn. I would say at this moment, if Wax wants to play tank push with Juggler, probably the best thing to do here would be to ban out Lucretia and TSdL, because Juggler just really doesn't want to fight magic tanks. Elwin is still a bit of a threat. Hey, what's up, Gonzo? Ganso? Gonzo? I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, Nidori is running a lot of Empire in his box. This makes Florentia a more threatening pick. Lucretia as well, of course. I mean, even Ares gets a decent amount of benefit out of Bernhardt buff. Helena less benefit, but a buff is still nice for her, just to tank stuff. And Warner, of course, gets the Empire buff as well. Wax, on the other hand, picking up Lucretia. And now it is Wax's opportunity to ban out Lucretia and TSdL, giving Juggler a better time. Again, there's still Elwin, who is a little problematic for Juggler, even Ares to some extent. Juggler can run Great Dragon Barrier, but there will be another round of bans. And then Wax could be forced into Rosin, who is... She can struggle a little bit to get Juggler back up to 100% HP, and Juggler against mages is very much so reliant on being at 100% HP, unless you're running some dark stuff like Cloak of Defiance Juggler, which is probably a pretty good option these days. Also, let me know if I can change my audio or anything. Anyway, instead, Nidori does, or Wax, does opt to ban the Omega, which kind of tells you that Wax's units might not have a lot of skill. Omega does have a very long range, and it's pretty threatening. And Lucretia, of course, because she's just... I would say Lucretia is more likely to be able to one-shot a Juggler than TSdL is. Nidori banning out the range here. Bernhardt could be the tank here to handle this Helena and this Elwyn. Elwyn less so because of the heal block, but Helena should be more an AoE unit, and given Wax is more single target focused box, although we do still have Bullsbull and Ares up. So Wax has some big range advantage here with the Florentia being able to cast Breeze as much as she... Or Nidori, god, why do I keep getting that mixed up? Nidori has a big range advantage here with Werner and Florentia. Oh, Wax missed her out of band. But yeah, Florentia and Werner providing a lot of extra mobility. Less relevant since Wax has managed to pick up a tank. First pick, Werner, indeed. I would say we'll probably see Wax pick up Florentia here. Can counteract some of the breathers from Nidori, although with Werner, he's always going to have the range advantage. Elwyn's a good ban there. You're banning out the good single target follow-up to kill the dog. T-Just was banned at some point. It'd be a much better situation for Wax. He could be fighting... but yeah, so there's a really good single target combo here between Ares and T-Jess. Liana can full heal dog. She's likely going to want to bring bishops to do that. Sherry on Wax's side can definitely mess up this team, especially if Bernhardt doesn't opt to bring a faction buff or a guard skill. And Bolzol, it's difficult for any of these units to snipe him. Werner can't snipe him. Even T-Jess can struggle to snipe a Bolzol. Florentia could bring Mass Resist to counter Sherry's stun and attack somebody else under Burn Guard. But again, Burn might not necessarily even be bringing guard here, because there's Bernhardt. He has Sword Dance. If Liana doesn't bring Mass Protect, then he can be a really good opener. And then Ares could potentially snipe this Lucretia. He could potentially snipe this Sherry. Even this Liana could die if heal block prevention or even Sky Archer isn't brought to an Ares combo after that. So really, Nidori's team can flex either between an AoE strategy or a more tank push based strategy, and trying to eventually exploit when Juggler's guard goes down. There's plenty of targets other than Mogul for a T-Jess to snipe or even an Ares. Whereas Wax's win condition is more so lean towards... There's Bolzol and Juggler AoE combo. Even Lucretia could bring an AoE combo as well. And then Sherry could potentially snipe things. So let's see what skill sets are brought. Werewolves on dog against a T-Jess is really risky. If it's Holy T-Jess, your dog gets one shot, and honestly, even if it's Mage T-Jess, there's a pretty good chance of your dog getting one shot. Just werewolves do not have magical bulk. Lobsters have a lot of magical bulk based off their high damage reduction. Sky Archer brought to counter a potential Bernhardt Sword Dance. Very good. Lucretia bringing mass attack, since Sherry does not have an attack buff, and neither does she. Very good. Bolzol bringing Stone Colossus. This is to counter the Werner. And Shadow Raid on Sherry is fine here. You're mostly using it to enable her act again. Bernhardt did not opt to bring guard, so once Sherry can reach, very dangerous. But maybe Bernhardt can screw up some kills. Dark Elf snipers on the T-Jess. These are specifically to be able to snipe a Sherry. And AoE on Ares. Just, yeah, so the combo here is Bernhardt gets a good AoE heal block on the team. And then Ares can swoop in with Wind Whisper. Sky Archer it's pretty good at handling that, especially because Wax also brought Prayer. So T-Jess only has Teleport. If it's Genius Staff T-Jess, she could go in immediately and try to snipe. Yeah, that Sherry is in range of T-Jess. She would teleport. Yeah, teleport right here just to get one stack, but Florentia needs to cast Mass Attack first. But still, Sherry's in range regardless. 1, 2, 3. And if it's Genius, which that int is leaning towards it, although the HP kind of isn't. Could be missing 4th Bond. Very low HP. It's a 5-star T-Jess. And we have a 5-star Lucretia. No Great Dragon Berry on the Juggler, which... It doesn't mean T-Jess will have her pick if she wants it. And again, even despite... I mean, I guess since T-Jess brought Dark Elf Snipers, now she can't kill this Juggler. But Nidori was more so thinking about how he would kill the other things. Which is fine. No Bracer on Florentia is relevant information for next games. Means she's a lot more vulnerable to debuff AoE strategies. Even just AoE in general. For Florentia to be safe, she really needs Bracer against stuff like Ares. Which was in Wax's bots. So T-Jess, if she's Genius, she can kill this Sherry. It will be a trade. T-Jess for Sherry, because Lucretia after that, you just move your you could have moved Lucretia right here. Okay. No, Lucretia can still move here, and even without Genius Staff, she could reach where T-Jess would have to attack Sherry from. So it'll always be a trade, and Puppet could pull her back into safety if need be. Although, at that point, T-Jess is Nidori's best way to bypass this Juggler. If she could kill unbuffed, then Florentia could act again to retreat. It's very true. There's actually another play there, although then you just choose, you'd let them have their pick between Ares and T-Jess. Ares could weaken the Sherry and kill. Or yeah, you could trade Ares for the Sherry instead, if you so wanted. Because then you could, Wind Whisper. Sherry would be injured. It could even get Wax's Prayer. I guess it would be kind of awkward if Sherry teleports on this forest, though. But you could just leave her there. If you 3C from, or if you AoE'd Sherry with Ares here, then Sherry would remain in the same spot. Any adjacent units to Ares will always stay in the same spot. Whereas if you AoE'd here, it'd be random between these tiles. Probably not a big reason to breeze here. I mean, Warner's already giving everybody +1 mobility. I'm going for the act again. So this looks like Balance Blade, based off that attack. It's also another option here. He would only hit the Sherry, but it would certainly secure the kill on T-Jess. Still, T-Jess will always be in range of Lucretia. And once T-Jess is sniped on Nidori's side, that is a really comfortable spot because Wax is running Werewolf, so his Juggler really wants to disable this T-Jess, especially with no Magic Guard. Liana's still on deck. She can act against somebody, but Wax doesn't need to, given that he's the player with turn priority. He still could to respond to this better, although with this kind of forward positioning on Sherry, it's probably too late. If Nidori wants to trade for her, he can. Ares could get sweep formation, but then he would have to retreat here, and then if this isn't Genius Staff T-Jess, she wouldn't be able to reach the Sherry because she needs 2 stacks for +1 range. You teleport, so yeah. We'll see if T-Jess kills, which I think she will. Oh. The thing is, Prayer can come out here. If this was a better T-Jess. Yeah, Prayer can come out here. I don't think it matters. I'm pretty sure if you use Prayer, you're just wasting it, because this Sherry should die to Sword Dance anyway. Prayer is going to heal like 4,000-ish HP, and Bernhardt fixed damage alone is 2,640. Could be pretty close. There's also Ares follow-ups still available. Ares can actually move over this tile twice if he wants to. Or, no he can't. Yeah, he took down the Werner buff duration. But yeah, he can get, he actually has 7 + 4. Which actually reaches almost the entire team. He could even hit Lucretia, which, yeah, after the heal block, that looks really good. Yeah, Sherry's... No, you see no Glory of the World, and then Ares should immediately move right here, and good chance Bozel and Lucretia are both just dead. Slight mistake on Ares. He should have moved 1 tile back, and he still would have been able to reach, I think. So yeah, might see Bozel and yep. So with the act again from Nidori, he had an action up on his opponent, and with the teleport from T-Jess, Bernhardt getting in was devastating. Wanting to use Juggler as an AoE counter, how do you prevent that? If you run Mass Protect on Liana and then use her action earlier, then you're going to start... You'll at least ensure that Juggler heals everybody up after Nidori goes in. Then it's gonna look a lot better for sure. Or maybe Nidori or Wax needed to not push up so much. If Wax just stayed more towards the start of the map and didn't give everybody an engage on him, he would have had to retreat everybody immediately on turn 1, but that's the kind of range advantage Werner affords you. And it also shows the power of player 2 act again. If Wax had picked up a second healer, he could have tried to do an act again on them or something. I don't know, it was just... Nidori had the big range advantage. Arnold, are you really gonna make me time you out every time for this? So, Nidori looked dropping the Werner. Um, Opting for more of a tank push based style. That's kind of what D-Lit indicates. There is not too much debuff in Wax's box, but you're almost certainly going to see Nidori first ban Hilda here, because D-Lit is really not good against Hilda, and yeah. But D-Lit can definitely exploit Dog not having a magic guard much better. I would like to see Wax not pick Juggler here, honestly. Against this big single target box with pretty limited AoE, Wax is player 2. I mean, we did see Nidori go in AoE strategy, but Juggler didn't really help there. Maybe he would have with Mass Protect, but I still see that AoE combo potentially killing people. So yeah, this time Wax is not opting to play the tank push game, he wants to play the range game. Werner got taken out of Nidori's box, so again, more leaning towards tank push here, but still doesn't necessarily have to go tank push. The mobility booster on Nidori's side immediately got banned, so Wax is trying not to get outranged here. Picking up Helena. Helena is very good against tankless compositions. She can generally have her pick. She has a very good range, and the AoE after effects leave people in a position not able to follow up and kill her usually. Or they can just be an opener to force a heal action, to force your opponent. Yeah. And okay, so Helena Mirror. Yeah, and Helena also kills Elwyn. Very good point. The teleport on Nidori's side is sort of playing the role of the range advantage in this case. And this map is probably why Nidori decided to take Werner out of his box. There's almost no terrain here, only along the top side of the map, which makes Werner's path very limited, easy to choke up, and half of his talent wouldn't do much. Wax does not necessarily have to pick up Rosin here. He could still choose something like Kiera, who has good range. Even TSdL could be good here for off heals. Lucretia as well if it's Gift of Eternal Life. So off heal, or there's plenty of ways to heal. Somebody like Elwyn and Helena both have self-sufficient healing. Rosin would be good against maybe the Bozo, but the rest of the box, not so much. So I think this healer ban is more some bait to try and get Wax to pick that Rosin, and good. Rosin does not get picked. Wax is opting to match the aggression. I mean, everything's good on both sides, really. Omega's actually quite good on this map. He has Leviathans, which means his range turn 1, he can go through the center of the map very easily. And Leviathans hit extremely hard. Nidori banning out the range advantage with Werner, and then with Lucretia banning out a unit that's difficult to deal with because she has Revive, so it's hard to kill her immediately. Maybe Helena could. Hard to kill her in one action, rather. Ares could be good here. Yeah, Ares is a good pick. But I mean, honestly, anything between Kiera, Ares, TSdL are really good here. I feel like Bozel's a little... Bozel could be good, because he can bring Stone Colossus. You just have to If Bozo reaches most of this team, then it's going to be really hard for Nidori to recover from a good Bozo 3C here. So, any of these DPS are a good choice. Wax has similar thoughts, bans out the Lucretia. Yeah, Nidori is definitely going for an act. Well, the thing is, act again, turn 1 teleport was really good last set because Nidori was player 2. But when you're player 1, it's a lot less of a good move, to be frank. Hero last pick, so plenty of off healing on Wax's side. Wax also matched T-Just teleport. Very similar teams, honestly, but I think I'd lean more towards Elwin and Kiera being able to pick apart this team than D-Lit and Florentia, because otherwise it's a mirror match. Going with Helena, kill Elwin, and break everyone's gear. I mean, assuming Wax bunches up, yeah, but he doesn't really have to. Only game you played where being player 2 is often way better than being player 1? I've always preferred player 2 myself, but in previous seasons, most people would generally say player 1 having turn advantage was better. These days, the thing about player 2 is they're really strong with act again. But if player 2 doesn't get act agains, then player 2 is a lot less strong and more defensive. But we'll see. I think I like Wax's team a bit more here. But it's definitely a volatile matchup here with either T-Just teleport probably being a heavily deciding factor in this matchup. Elwin on Wax's side is also really good, giving buffs to 4 of his units, whereas Nidori is going to have to be relying on D-Lit Gospel or maybe Florentia Mass Attack, maybe T-Just Strengthen. After Flora when player 2 becomes stronger. Yeah, that was definitely a big thing. Because before it was just Liana, and I mean, you just ban out the Liana. But now if you want to ban out Liana Florentia on a player 2 team, you're giving them a whole host of other nasty things, so. Either bring a 3C Gospel, pretty much what you'd expect. No Strengthen on T-Just. Florentia is bringing the attack buff. Here, bring Gospel for herself, because everybody else on Wax's side is set. They'll just get covered by the Owen faction buff. This time Wax knows that he knows it's very good that he recognized that he can't kill this Sherry with his T-Just last game. So he's like, okay, I just won't try to kill her. I'll just use my T-Just to kill something else. Very similar T-Justs. Actually, it was Nidori that tried to kill Sherry last game. That's my bad. But against all these angels, I can still see why you'd run Dark Elf Snipers. It's fair. I mean, she's gonna kill any of these units that move anyway. Well, she's gonna kill T-Just. T-Just will definitely kill T-Just or Vera. Yeah, I do think Nidori wants to initiate, but he does have Florentia. I think Florentia here actually more so wants to put breezes on people to get them in range, especially the Sherry. And then T-Just could teleport off of that, or teleport D-Lit in, something like that, because Helena won't really have a problem getting in. I think Wax doing that is a bit of a mistake because you don't have another support skill, so you can't cycle your talent. You'd probably rather stack up faster. I can understand using teleport right now, but I would... Okay, maybe there's a specific play here. 5, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I mean, Wax still could have teleported Helena here, got the act again, and teleport would also be back off of cooldown much faster. Could other Helena reach? Yeah, I'm pretty sure she can. Let me count one more time. 1, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it would have definitely been better for Helena to be here. Yeah, she can reach. TSdL would have gotten her act again, and if Nidori wants to take this trade, he can. I mean, Helena, it'll definitely be a trade. But it would give Wax turn priority. At the same time, that's not the worst situation for Nidori, because then he could think of act agains instead. It won't be trade, then Wax can double kill with Sherry. I mean, I feel that Sherry would have to use... Maybe if Sherry brought a single target skill, I definitely agree that this Sherry could kill this other Sherry. But she's gonna need to use 3C to kill the Helena. And then even standing on that tile is gonna break some of her equipment. But yeah, we'll see. Just trigger act again? Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So just like Shadow Raid right there and then go for a kill. If Sherry breezes, she could potentially reach TSdL. Yeah, then Ellen cleans up. That does look good. Because again, this is giving turn priority over to Wax, but that does now mean that Florentia can use act again here on something without it being a big disadvantage. So yeah, it looks like exactly what he's going for. And he opts to kill Sherry because he didn't breeze. Yeah, Sherry did not breeze, so she couldn't reach TSdL. She could have reached D-Lit instead, but I think killing Sherry there is more important than killing this D-Lit, so that's just fine. And so that's a 2-for-1. Because Helena is certainly dead here. I guess Sherry is too. So no, 2-for-2. D-Lit basic attack Sherry. And then we'll have TSdL, Kiera, Elwyn versus D-Lit, TSdL, Florentia. Wax moves, Nidori moves, Wax moves, Nidori moves. So yeah, Wax has turn priority here. Wax did have turn priority, so He didn't necessarily need to kill Helena there, but he can just disengage, so it's okay. Why didn't he use Kira? I'm not sure Kira would have killed, honestly. It's not buffed. And those angels still had a lot of HP. Assassin Kira would have attacked first into the angels, not done a lot of damage. Then it would have been Faceless attacking into that Helena. That was a iffy kill. Yeah, but Helena has a lot of damage reduction. I don't know. I could definitely see it whipping. And Steel is sort of locked into attacking here. Which is pretty awkward. It seems like you kind of have to use 3C here because you need to retreat to get out of Elwyn range. Elwyn did use Glorious Charge. Yeah, you could act again too. But I feel that Nidori wants to save act again. And at this point, it's going to be really hard to deal with Elwyn having a revive. So yeah, Sherry does, or D-Lit does opt to use 3C so she can retreat. Put up the gospel on T-Jess. And probably move back here. Yeah, that's okay too. Nice forward position. And something good to mention about Kira is that there's less than 5 units on the board now. So Kira's lost a lot of range. Again, because Wax didn't teleport or get the act again off of using teleport, it's going to be a while since that's active. So now it's kind of two sort of stubby leg teams against stubby leg teams, although Wax certainly has the range advantage here with Elwyn. Yeah, they both lost the same heroes. Staying one tile out of range of Elwyn. There is player 2, which works a lot better for Act Again. But T-Jess is down for 2 turns with teleport. Kira's range is limited. It's a weird sort of situation where both teams can't really approach each other. So this might be a long one. I think Wax wants to wait for Reign of Glory to be back up, as well as T-Jess teleport, which they are synced, so that's nice enough. And then Nidori has to find some sort of way to get in, but given that he had to use D-Lit 3C here, D-Lit's not really going to be able to kill any of these units. And certainly if T-Jess goes in, then one of Wax's units will definitely be able to kill her after that. Good night, Arnold. Yeah, you have a good day too. I forgot Accelerated Aid gave you Curse of Wounding immunity. He just also had to use 3C. I think Wax feels a lot ahead here. Just, it doesn't feel that Nidori has a good answer to Reign of Glory coming back up, and then T-Jess teleporting in. Elwyn is sort of the lightning rod for T-Jess to teleport on top of. Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, TSdL would need one more stat. And plus Elwin, he could lose one life. But then you're gonna lose your TSdL for it. Yeah, like, there's some sort of act again that could happen, maybe. I don't really see it. The problem is that Nidori is just so outranged here by Elwin. Tough situation. I mean, maybe Tenyo Breeze could make something happen? I don't know. Any scenario I'm thinking of, I just see Nidori trading unfavorably because of this revive. As long as Wax doesn't move Elwin into range of somebody. Oh no, their cooldowns are not quite synced. That's okay. And sooner or later, the map will force these players in range of each other. But the engagement will probably happen by Wax before then. This is a bit of an awkward endgame because there's only so much to talk about. But I hope everybody's having a good day. People should probably be spamming Octagon as much as possible, but I don't see Spirit Dancer coming back up before an engagement happens by Wax. No, this is just Actian with you. Refreshing gospel. I hovered over that emote because I was curious. I forgot the stream could see me do that. At least the music's good. This is a bait. Nidori wants Elwin to go in here, kill Deedlit, and then TSdL kills Elwin with Florentia Act again. I still don't see that winning, but I like the Moxie. Wax doesn't bite. Knows that he can dictate this range advantage. A lot of ways to throw. Yeah, maybe with the act again. So, assuming this Kira is not genius, or hoping Kira goes Zen. I don't know. I feel like if I'm Wax, I just keep staying back. Rush does not sack with Breeze, and this, yeah. TSdL can stay far back like that. She can teleport to here from there. Why did he rush Deedlit? Well, he's pretty low on backup time. That probably has something to do with it. Probably. I mean, what do you do in Nidori's position? He's just trying to get any sort of range advantage he can. Tenyo attack buff, which is kind of useful. Yeah, Fira's genius. She could hit D-Lit or Florentia. Losing the AA potential is pretty bad, yeah. He does have an act again after 3C. But he would need to be able to AoE 2 units. And by the time you can AoE 2 units against this composition, I mean, like, Wax can just spread out. By that time, Wax is probably already engaged and killed something. So Owen will have his act again up next turn. And D-Lit did Breeze again. Fortunately, 3C with his 6-turn cooldown is just so long. D-Lit could reach, but yeah, it's Sorceress, and with a basic attack, there is not a chance in hell D-Lit is killing that. Those guys have 970 magic defense. Okay, but T-Jess could maybe reach. Yeah, she should. If it's Genius Staff, she can reach this T-Jess and then kill. And Elwyn did not move far away enough. Oh, wow. Dark Elf Sniper is not good. Holy crap. Yeah, there was a really good play there. If that T-Jess died, then Nidori could have acted again with Florentia and potentially took that out. But yeah, Zero Pops mentions it. Dark Elf Snipers have a very slow attack animation. And yeah, just the wrong troop choice, really. That's what sealed it. Because the Sorks would have absorbed a lot more hits fast, but because the Dark Elves have a slow attack animation, the Dark Elf Snipers mostly die before they get hits, and they just get destroyed because they don't have the MDef that the Sorceress do, and that ends up getting the T-Jess counter-killed. So yeah, damn. Floating Courtyard. Likely on this map, you won't see too much Werner. Range staff on which T-Jess? I didn't see, honestly. But yeah, if it was range staff, he definitely should have hit. Nidori should have hit for 5 away because it would have been out of range of the T-Jess. I wasn't watching for the Genius Staff proc, honestly. So yeah, I think Wax probably will... I think taking out Werner is a good idea on this map. Omega Law also not so great on this map. Assassins in general, not great. Werner in particular, can't really get terrain for most people. But okay, no box swaps. Interesting that Nidori's sticking with D-Lit. But she could be good if Wax tries to go for an AoE strategy of his own. Probably just gonna see more Hilda bans. Nidori playing very heavy single target focus. Foreigners hate this simple trick of blocking these pillars. Yeah. Again, Wax banning out Akaya. Wants to ban any sort of range advantage Nidori could get. Nidori did seem more comfortable as player 2, which he also chose to pick it. And this time Wax decided to play Tank Push again, which I'm not so sure. First pick Sorechia. Nidori's definitely going for some tricky act again plays here. Banning out the long range mages. Choosing player 2 and not adding Liana? Yeah, I feel that maybe over D-Lit, Liana could do more for Nidori's box. Wax banning out the burn, which I guess after your mages get banned, it makes a lot of sense. And Kira can deal with burns, but it can be a little iffy. It's kind of crit reliant. And at this point all the mages are gone, and now Nidori decides he wants to play a tank push of his own. However, this Elwyn is a big threat to this juggler. Perhaps Rosin Seal doesn't get banned, and yeah. Wax opting to ban out the mages himself because juggler does not like dealing with these mages at all. And now it's pretty much a purely physical box. And Bernhardt is also going to be really good against this. Okay, not purely physical, D-Lit. Maybe D-Lit, some sort of linchpin here, but other than that, Bernhardt's going to be good against all these physical units as well. Ares is banned, he's very good on this map. And yeah, Nidori picks up the Rosin Seal, so we're going to see Stone Colossus on Juggler, who... Elwyn's biggest threat against Juggler, one, it is removing water, but two, it's the heal block that ensures Juggler can't recover. I think Wax should have gone Ares before Burn. Yeah, it would have been a good single target combo. Yeah. Yeah, Nidori definitely going for the stall here. Are we gonna see an Omega? That sort of looks like... I mean, it does depend on the burn. We haven't seen Wax's burn, so we don't know how physically bulky he is. You could bring Iron Fist on burn, and that's pretty much going to ensure Omega will never really kill a Bernhardt. Nidori banning out the range, and also banning out any sort of double act again shenanigans. Probably see... The thing is, Bozel here does feel a bit weak against Juggler. Nidori picking like I do, basically. Which I don't know. He has very little ways to kill the opponent, and it can be a bit RNG for D-Lit to kill a Bernhardt. Wax has to decide, is Nidori going to pick Omega, or is he going to pick Bozel? And now he's definitely going to pick Omega, right? It's actually kind of more so, you know, that if you pick Rosin Seal here, that Nidori is never going to pick Bozel, because it's just going to be useless against this composition. So you have to pick Omega here. Both players leaving out Bozel last. I mean, it's Rosin Flow versus Rosin Flow. It's Rosin Flow Juggler versus Rosin Flow Juggler. This Omega can win? Okay, so the problem is Omega's best targets here are the healers. And it's not too difficult to just put this Juggler, this Elwyn, or even this Bernhardt in front. Elwyn, I guess Omega might be able to kill. Yeah, Omega does have attack buff from D-Lit, Gospel really good, and D-Lit can also bring Sea of Miracles here. I would expect D-Lit to be running that skill set. Omega can kill Elwyn if no skill. Yeah, I mean, Elwyn does usually run Forbidden, right? I think. So it can still be a bit RNG. And if Burn Aura is in range, it could be tough as well. I think it'll come down to what equipments these characters have and how they decide to play these games. Bernhardt should probably bring... I think werewolves are just fine, really. Werewolves are much bulkier against Steedlit for any sort of shenanigans like that, and Elwyn does not necessarily want to be up. If Bernhardt could bring Iron Fist if your burn's a bit weaker on the physical bulk end, that will ensure Omega does not kill. As long as Bernhardt has skill. I mean, even supposing Bernhardt doesn't have skill, it could still kill. Excuse me. Yeah, there's also Miracle. Yeah, there's also Tagwa. Stone Hollow? That could be an option. Yeah. Wax agrees, also brings Hegemony. This burn does have skill, so he should be very much so safe against this Omega. Even supposing that Omega has Knowing Strike, 2/2/2 skill is enough to avoid Omega triple, which Omega did bring Knowing Strike. Yeah, with Knowing Strike and no external skill buffs, Omega has 666 skill, so this Bernhardt is totally safe. Rosin and Florentia are dead, not really a big deal. This Elwyn is not safe. However, Wax opting to just push Elwyn up, the primary reason is to zone any sort of aggressive actions from Nidori. Give Bernhardt and Juggler time to reach and set up in these pillars and block the rest of these vulnerable units. Yeah, I mean, this Bernhardt is a little weaker on the bulk end. Why Werewolves on Jug? I suppose it is a bit risky if Dealit is Twilight Star. She is not. Which you also saw last game if you looked for it. Like, if you just check at the very start of the match and look at Dealit's attack, you'll see that it's not green. You can also sort of estimate Twilight Star. Yeah, if it is Twilight Star, Elwyn could kill, potentially. Bringing Faction buff for Dealit. And I sort of disagree with this Dealit skill set. I don't think 3C is doing much for you here. I feel that Sea of Miracles cooldown reduction will do a lot more for this composition. Oh. Well, I mean, werewolves are tankier against Elwyn if water gets dispelled. There's that. Rosin brought faction buff for Florentia. Makes perfect sense. Yeah, but unicorns versus lobsters without water just get shredded too anyway. So, yeah, wait for Juggler to move to the middle, or be guarding somebody in the middle. Stone Hollow would make, yeah, Stone Hollow makes sense. That's fair. Yeah, it's actually, yeah. I mean, maybe Bernhardt would really like that, but yeah, I don't know. Doesn't look like Balanced Blade. Is Breeze, though, which is less damage output. If it was Full Moon, then it would probably be around 1500 attack, and this is likely a 10% attack weapon, such as Seal Garden or Mjolnir. Which synergizes very nicely with Hegemony. Probably Mjolnir. I would imagine his defense would be a bit higher. But I do agree with what Zero is saying, that Stone Hollow would have been way more safe here. But maybe Nidori's not confident in his Valand training. It is a Bracer, Elwyn. And it does kind of look like, with that Miracle Rosin just casted, that Wax just wants to go straight for the Juggler kill, which is risky. Rosin should cast Miracle here. It would be the safest option. and probably put strategic or group up as well. Just put in as many buffs as possible to try and prevent Sword Soul from dispelling water, because as long as water gets dispelled, or as long as water doesn't get dispelled, this juggler should be just fine. Omega did breeze, which is very nice. Can't reach anything, so yeah, there's not much point in acting again here. You're not gonna cast Faction Buff this turn because you would rather have Miracle up on Juggler. So it makes sense to move Florentia first, that way she has a longer duration on Miracle, which could potentially make her take less damage from Juggler 3C. Would just be happy if this match doesn't turn into another stall match. Yeah, that was a bit rough. I mean, the picks definitely lean towards stall, with Omega Lol eventually killing everything. So yeah, Nidori making all the right decisions. It's very good. Lex has plenty of time. Nidori, on the other hand, does like to think a lot, which is a good thing. I really support using your backup time. Maybe it annoys your opponent a bit, but you should be sure about your moves. First two matches ended early and mid turns. Yeah. Well, I mean, the second match went pretty late. I think it ended on turn 6 or 7. And it's got into one of those Mexican standoffs that happen in Lang when trades go a certain way. Yeah, definitely better to use most of the time now. First match did end turn 1, yes. Wax doesn't really want to go in. It's definitely riskier. Let's count. I actually think Juggler brought Faction Buff less for Deedlit and more to just have more buffs. So Ellen has less of a chance of dispelling. So this Juggler has 10 buffs, which means it's a 50% shot that Sword Soul takes out Juggler's water. This is Omega's range right here. The healers, you probably won't see them move in too close to it. And it's nice that Florentia can act against this Bernhardt if needed. He didn't breeze this turn, but he is in range. There's even more buffs for this Juggler. Now we're at 12. So what is that? A 41% chance? Oh, and Deedlit barely does not kill this Juggler. Like I said, it could be iffy for Deedlit to, or this Bernhardt. Yeah, Deedlit, it's... Werewolves are just broken, dude. That's really all there is to say about it. Okay, and Ellen's gonna take the Omega here. Just goes for the guarantee play, right? Yeah. Very good. So now Nidori has lost probably his best win condition. And it's pretty difficult from here. He can kill Ellen eventually with Fog. You move Florentia here, but it's turn 2. It's gonna take a while. Fog will be here, and then 3, and then 4, and then finally 5. Can Burn die to 3C? Yes, he could. At this point, though... Okay, so Nidori gets turn priority. He doesn't necessarily want to act again here. This could kill? Yes, it does. Yeah, that works too. No clock. Nidori gets turn priority, so it's a matter of if he wants to keep the turn priority. Dealit doesn't have an attack skill, which is part of the reason that I really think Dealit should have ran 6C setup, Elven Breath instead. The other thing is Sea of Miracles helps you cycle Elven Aura faster too, so. And just that 6-turn cooldown on 3C, and generally Dealit's running Gospel, it's just unfortunate. Yes, Nidori is first. Florentia moves. Then one of Wax's units move. Or now Nidori second, but yeah, then Rosin moved, and then Rosin moved, and then it would have been Nidori going first. Yeah, Elwyn does look dead, but there's no B-Shock because Juggler brought faction buff. Yeah, I mean, Elwyn could move like here. We can only do that at the start of next turn. Yeah, he can move here and then potentially get out this way. Oh yeah, if 3C. You're right, you're right. Yeah. Juggler's gonna lock this Elwyn in place because Elwyn used Reign of Glory. And then, yeah. Okay, so I guess going for Omega was not the move. Could've... He brought Rosin 3C, I think at last turn. Alright, at this turn? It was still this turn. Rosin could have used 3C to full heal Bernhardt, and then Bernhardt would have still been... would have probably had enough healing to survive the Omega. So Nidori didn't have... or Wax didn't have to go for killing Omega there. It looked good, but I also saw that... I didn't think about it too much. Yeah. Wax just kind of jumped the gun a bit, I think. Yeah, I think Rosin 3C there. Then Bernhardt will mostly be full healed. Then Omega shouldn't be able to kill. Yeah, I mean, once Elwyn's down, then Wax doesn't really have a win condition with these 3 units. Yeah, Wax opted the act again for Juggler. Okay, I kind of... Huh. I mean, Juggler can jump here, but then you're gonna die to Fog. Probably. The Juggler could jump here. Then the other Juggler could jump here, but then he wouldn't be guarding the Elwyn anyway. Dealit can reach because she got a 10-year breeze. And the higher int healer. The thing is, it's pretty awkward to move Juggler here. Juggler sort of has to stand here. This is this is a good position. Yeah, okay, that's fine. If Juggler jumps here, then Wax's Juggler jumps there. I think I would have liked to see a different... Oh no, can't even breathe Robin. Dealit doesn't have an attack skill, so... Do you jump for it? I think you can. There's no B-Shock play. Elwyn can maybe kill Rosin, but no, he won't move, so he won't heal. And I think... No, he can escape. But it's a matter of if he dies before then. This Dealit Tenyo is really unfortunate in that regard. Yeah, Wax locks down the D-Lit. Good. So Elwyn can move here. Yeah, no. Okay, so Elwyn moves here. Then the fog goes here next turn, right? When he can act. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Elwyn could barely get out. I think that's what Nidori, or what Wax has to do here. I don't think he's gonna be able to kill. He won't be full health. I mean, this juggler isn't either, but also no grassland. Also, if he wants to heal, there will be no rapid route cav tech. There is a lot of buffs on juggler. 9 buffs. So it is leaning a bit towards the Ellen's favor, but I mean, again, it's tough. Now juggler's full HP, so I don't think there's a chance. Also, I would have liked it if Nidori saved Triton there. Because if Ellen does go in, then you'd rather bring it up again next turn. The thing is, I don't think there's a way that Wax can kill this juggler. It's just Elwyn dipping and peacing out seems like the best way to go about this. B-Shock was used, and Nidori brought. Oh wait, no, yeah, B-Shock. Okay, yeah, you're right. I see exactly what's going on. Fair enough. Even battle supporting the juggler for just a bit more damage. Excuse me. Okay, so Flo probably has to move here. Yeah, this is tough. Do you move Flo or do you hit Juggler to try and reduce some incoming damage? Yeah. The Juggler's werewolves are not going to do too much damage to Juggler's werewolves. So yeah, Beast Shot combo. D-Lit will heal Juggler with Gift of Eternal Life. Yeah, going Sword Soul first. Does get the water. Does not kill. No grassland. And now D-Lit has to attack this Juggler. No other way around it. You need the gift. And the thing is, she'll actually take enough counter okay, he doesn't. Yeah, well, I think this Juggler's probably dead. Yep. D-Lit needed to heal, but supposing that she does attack, she might knock herself down low enough that she wouldn't Gift of Eternal Life the Juggler anyway. Like, I could definitely see her troops getting wiped. I think even that doesn't save it. And it looks like Wax takes this. It's a pretty easy kill for Elwyn on this D-Lit, I imagine. What could Nidori have done differently? Stone Colossus Dog, yeah. Yeah, that would... Then this Elwyn doesn't do anything, right? I do feel that... if things progress like this... Had to start with Melting Juggler with Florentia. And finish with Dealet. Yeah, that makes sense. There's several things that he could have done differently, but I definitely think Stone Colossus would make the biggest difference here, because then this Elwyn never busts. And then it becomes a much more interesting game where maybe Elwyn goes for that move I was mentioning earlier and tries to get out, because there wasn't really a way for Nidori to punish that. Well, that's more Wax's side. But yeah. I guess at this point the question is... No, there is really. It's pretty interesting positioning. I'm surprised that Wax didn't just go for the Elwyn kill, but Elwyn should be able to kill either of these healers pretty easily. Damn. Looking at that damage, I think Dealet attacking might have went on to Juggler. The Gift of Eternal Life. Yeah. Oh, wow. No grassland and, crazy. But yeah. Kill gets cleaned up anyway. Dealet does make me a little sad these days. I mean, she failed to kill a Bernhardt. I thought that was just my Dealet because it was Teddy, but even this 1600 int Dealet failed. That makes me very sad. I love Dealet. She's a good unit. It's just... Dealet's good in AoE metas. And but I guess her damage has just fallen off a lot. But she is always good in AoE metas. Just Gospel and Sea of Miracles are such good tools, especially like for your healers and just for playing the long tank push game. And that's another thing, Dealet's good at tank push. In these like high fast-paced rush games, she just doesn't perform as well. I was very surprised that Florentia survived that Elwyn though. But yeah, congratulations to Wax for advancing to the round of 16, and better luck next time to Nidori. I think we went over everything very sufficient.